Today, we are going to be talking about a very complicated topic. It's highly debated in the teacher and education world, and that is homework. Just today, I put a poll on my Instagram stories to ask teachers if they give homework. 60% of people said yes, and 40% of people said no. So what makes this super big split in the education world? We're going to talk about it today, the pros, the cons, and everything in between. So let's get started. Welcome to Solving for the Undefined podcast. I'm your host, Johanna, founder of Miss Kuiper's Classroom, the place that equips teachers in creating a healthy math classroom where students can thrive, no matter their academic abilities. But it's not always about the numbers, and that's why I'm here, bringing you the formulas to solve your problems, math and otherwise, plus strategies on cultivating that necessary math mindset. And that's what you can count on. Hello, welcome to episode 40. It's kind of crazy to think that I have done and we have been through 40 episodes together. Today's topic of homework has been on my mind for a really long time, so I'm excited to kind of dive into it today. Thinking back to when I was a student in school, I think I had homework every single night, from elementary all the way through college. I had homework in every single class except one. My junior year, I had an anatomy class with a teacher, Mr. Maimone, and he had a policy that he never gave homework. He didn't see the purpose or the benefit of having homework. In turn, what he had us do was every single day after class, we had to go teach someone, whether it was our parents, a friend, our dog, a teddy bear, we had to teach them one thing we learned from the class. And the philosophy behind that was when you teach something, you learn it better. And in order to teach something, you have to truly understand what it means and how it relates to other things. And I know now as a math teacher, I understand 8th grade math and how it connects to everything else way more and way better than when I was an 8th grade student in math class. So looking at the percentage of my experience with a class that has no homework versus every other class I've had has always given homework. It's no wonder that when I became a teacher, that's what I thought was expected. And that's what I did. I remember my first year of teaching, I gave homework every single week. It was given on Monday and it was due Friday. And I remember a conversation with my principal being like, that's not enough. You need to give more. And I was like, what? Okay. So I kept one for my Math 8 classes, but started giving 2 for my accelerated math classes. It was given Monday, due Wednesday. You got another one on Wednesday, due Friday. And if they didn't complete it, I would give them a homework lunch, aka detention, where they would have to come into my classroom during lunch and complete that homework or get help on that homework. And then the kids who didn't complete their homework and then didn't show up to homework lunch would then get a disciplinary action or a referral because they chose to not come to homework lunch. But even with all of my effort to get kids to finish it or have a place to work on it, I still had a lot of students not completing it. I even had one parent tell me that they don't believe in homework and they would never let their daughter do homework, which is mind-blowing to me. And then I came across a book that you've heard me talk about many times if you've listened to any of my episodes called Building Thinking Classrooms by Peter Liljedahl. And to summarize what he talks about with homework is that when you give homework and you place the expectation that it's graded and it has to be turned in at a certain time, you're not setting up students for success. Just like we talked about last week with the Marshmallow Tower Challenge, putting an incentive or a restriction on something actually will make kids or people fail more often than succeed. So Peter Liljedahl's suggestion is to create this thing called Check for Understanding. So it's an optional homework assignment that helps students to see if they truly understand whatever is being taught in class. All that being said, why do teachers or why is it expected that we assign homework? I think the number one reason, and people I talked to on Instagram today would agree, that Students need practice. And homework is a convenient way to get them to practice whatever they're working on in class and keep it fresh in their mind. Another really good one is time management and responsibility. One of my teacher friends brought up this idea of she gives students homework but gives them about 10 minutes or so in class to work on it, and then whatever they don't finish then becomes homework. So it gives kids the incentive to use their class time wisely to get their homework or practice done. And with that, the responsibility of students having to complete something and turn it in is a way to help mimic what the real world or outside of school would look like at a job. Maybe that they have a report or a presentation. They would have to make sure that they got it done and turned in on time. And another reason why teachers assign homework, just like it was in my case, it's expected, or it's school policy that teachers give students homework. So now that we've talked about why assign homework, let's talk about some reasons why people don't assign homework. The number one reasons, according to the poll I put out, is teachers don't believe in it. And I'm sure there's a bunch of reasons behind why that is, some being that students don't have time, whether that's extracurriculars like sports or theater, or that they have family obligations. For me, I work at a Title I school, and a lot of my students have younger siblings that they're expected to take care of. So how can they fit in homework with that? Another reason being that kids already do so much demanding academic work in school that they need time to just be a kid outside of school, whether that's playing or video games or being outside, being with friends in a non-academic setting, mental health reasons. Those are all reasons to not give homework. I'm interrupting today's episode to ask you a vital question. Do you have the tools in your classroom for student success? Well, wonder no more, because I have a way for you to check your work. My new guide, 7 Math Teacher Must-Haves for Student Success, has the top 7 items you need in your classroom. From classroom staples to manipulatives that are often missed, this checklist will ensure that your students have a successful school year. Additionally, each item shows the best budget and splurge options. Download your guide after listening to today's episode by going to MissKuipersClassroom.com/must-haves. Now that we've discussed why and why not assign homework, let's talk about what the research says. You know me, I love looking at research and what it says and how we can implement it. So, research shows that students who complete homework have better academic scores. My response to that? No, duh. When we have practice, the more practice we have at something, the better we are going to become at it. Just like that saying goes, right? Practice makes... Nope, not perfect. Practice makes progress. So while research shows that students who complete homework have better academic scores, here's the catch. Academically enriching, developmentally appropriate homework is where it's going to be the most beneficial to the students as a whole. If we keep that in mind, that we are trying to academically enrich our students and help them progress in their understanding and become a better mathematician and person as a whole, what do we need to do in terms of homework to make that a reality? Number 1, we need to make sure that homework is not graded, it does not get a completion score, and it is 100% optional. Will this make some students not do it? Absolutely. If there is no quote-unquote consequence for not doing homework, some kids are just going to choose not to do it, and that's okay. On the flip side, a lot of kids might start doing it now because that pressure is off. No longer do they have to be perfect at doing their homework. This is an opportunity for them to check their understanding. And that leads into the second one. Homework should help students see if they understand whatever is going on in class. So say you're talking about linear equations. You want your homework to reflect whatever is going on in class and maybe add some spiral review. It's going to help students self-reflect and see what they know, what they don't know, and what they can do to then get there. They have practice problems in front of them. They can then work on those, redo them a couple of times to make sure that they truly understand linear equations or whatever concept it is. Number 3, we want to make sure the cognitive demand is present. Cognitive demand is something I'll talk more about in next week's episode. With homework, we want it to be academically enriching. So the cognitive demand needs to be present within these problems. We don't want to have them plug and chug and try to do 100 problems. That's not going to be helpful for anyone. We want them to truly think about and use their brain power to solve a problem. And with that, leading into number 4, we want those problems to connect them to the world that's around them. Not just, if x is 4, what is x plus 3 equal? What good is that type of problem? It has no benefit for them outside of the academic classroom. Let's take a pause. I know that what I have just said is a high demanding order on us as teachers. I know we already have so much on our plates as it is, and this is just adding one more thing to it. Think about this. Going back to our goal, what is your goal as a teacher? For me, it's to academically engage students to help them deeply understand and love math. If I am giving them and forcing them to do homework every single night that has no tangible benefit that they see, not me, that my students see, how is that working towards my goal? What I shared with you is what I am striving for, and definitely not perfect at yet. You can only change so much every school year. I think research shows like 10% of your practice can change every year. But that change starts with us. If our goal is to truly academically enrich our students to benefit them as a whole human being, then that change needs to start with us, and it starts in the classroom. And with that, I'll catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. To find all the links and resources to things talked about in this episode, head on over to MissKuipersClassroom.com and click on podcast.